Log recording continuation 8:32 in the morning West Coast times, the 7th of June 2024. We were Gen Z, Roseman, California. So how do I talk about it? I was trying to find something about D-Day I could talk about the veterans, and then everything else that I knew and remembered and learned and experienced. I'm still decompressing. It's not that easy talking about your relatives who've been through military service of any sort, especially if they had to see combat and see the changes happening in them. So one of mine, I were freaking out left and right. It's only after when my brother came home from missions he had in the Navy. Some he couldn't talk about, and others, you know, not till decades later. The first time when he actually killed somebody in combat changed him a great deal. Even after being compartmentalized, you know, shoving the memories in some far off obscured area. For a time, he was actually able to focus. For a time, he was actually concentrating. For a time, he was actually able to live. It was not until things happened afterwards that I think the stress was eating him up one way or another. Health started to take the decline because of the heart. Maybe somewhere in the memories are triggering his heart. I don't know, but my big brother was going through a hell of a lot of crap, and I don't know. I don't know any other way to talk about this one. I don't know. Trying to talk about my brother sometimes gets a little more complicated, a little harder and harder to deal with. I think just when I thought I'm getting a handle on it, and then all hell breaks loose. So how the hell am I supposed to be able to deal with that one? I don't know. But it's getting harder and harder at times. Of course, if I happen to make it up to heaven and my brother happens to see me, he says, "You know, all that time you kept talking about me left and right. Did you know half the time you were talking about bullshit?" I said, "No, Dave, I lived with you through this shit. Tell me what was and what wasn't." Sometimes I thought he was bullshitting a lot of things because if I was in the vicinity of it or if I knew it directly, I could call my brother on it. I know sometimes he liked to be a storyteller himself, but when it came down for the stuff that he actually personally witnessed that scared the shit out of him and then haunt his ass for the last several years of his life, I mean, his medications, he had to keep changing dosage and changing meds on him. And I still think because of the heart conditions that my brother had were caused by this, by his excessive stress. I'm not a doctor, but I'm thinking as I try to psychoanalyze it more and more, trying to get a handle on this thing. I'm thinking, yeah, much am I thinking at this point, or overthinking it, would call it. Could the stress of what happened back in his past coming up to bite him in the heart? Maybe a flashback or something like that. I know about shortness of breath concerning about PTSD, but my brother is going through it like crazy. I'm just trying to get a handle on this one. It's not a conspiracy theory for me to share about. It's psychoanalyzing what the hell happened. Trying to tear things apart, put it into a perspective I can try barely to understand. Why did my brother go through this? My brother went through it because there was a hell of a lot of crap he didn't want to tell or holding on to so much. The pain and the memory of it was so strong, so acute, that I think it was stressing him out more and more inside. A lot of things happening that he couldn't get a handle on or control on. So yeah, he was feeling more and more ill about it until my respiratory should have been a heart attack. If it was a coronary, that's one thing, but damn it. But I didn't see the signs. Bad enough I see my brother in the ER looking like a meat slab. The story's suddenly silent. And now I have to dredge up memories left and right and how to tell people what the hell happened. And I'm not for braggadocing. I'm not there to puff the chest up and say I know this, I know that, and start telling a whopper just to feed a damn ego. I get haunted on this because it is haunting for me. No act. Pain of losing family, especially my brother. I get triggered left and right on it. A day like D-Day should have been one of those kind of things I should have been preparing myself, but I wasn't. I'm hearing the sacrifices of soldiers. And I get haunted by the movies my brother and I kept saying left and right, but worse than that, the things my brother had went through. That was the hardest thing right there to understand. My brother went through the shit. Didn't matter which particular location, he went through the shit. And there was no way a civilian like me would understand that and try to get a perspective on it, because if I did, maybe I'd have the same stress my brother had as well. Maybe I would have the same heart issues he had. He had angina attacks. But there's still many heart attacks, aren't they? And he had them for a long time. He started having them, I think, well after he got out of the military. That maybe his soul couldn't deal with it, so had to try to kill his body. Tried to get peace. He couldn't. Drink, used, that didn't work. Damn near killed himself in the situations. He almost did too. But he fought for survival. He fought for living. I should be grateful and celebrating that and smiling like crazy. I'm not. The day for D-Day is already over since yesterday by the date. But the D-Day still continues. In the heart, soul, and the mind. In the memories and the feelings. Soldiers went through their own D-Day of trying to conquer Fortress Europa. What the hell was I trying to conquer? Something else. Something else. I'm never for one for war going up, but sometimes, unfortunately, it becomes necessary. I hate to throw out the patriotic crap for this one. I probably would. I probably would throw out the patriotic crap just to say how much I'm part of the game plan. I'm not. My brother would be, though. My brother fought for the country, bled for the country, damn near died for it, and he still kept going. I thought he was immortal, a tank. Even tanks got their weak spots. To me, my brother will and always will be back in the past, even in the eternity, still will be my hero. Oh, he'd been my brother, he'd been my protector, my best friend. He'd been my educator at times, confidant. I couldn't, I couldn't ask for a better brother, even a more human one. He, like his other band of brothers out there who have served and still serving, he's part of that community. I'm not because I haven't worn the uniform, but I'm in the support group. I had to take care of things back home and take care of transitions and everything else going on with and around him. I had to take care of things that I'm not quite sure why the hell I did in the first place, but I did anyway. My job. I could honestly try to blame the son of a bitch for it, but you know what? I'm not. And I'd still watch his six up in heaven if I could. I'd still watch his six. That's my job. I may not have understood all the stuff he had been through, military or non-military. Some of the stuff I would know and understand and kick the shit out of him if I could. But regarding the military stuff, this civilian would have zero clue, except for a Hollywood movie maybe similar to this shit. And even then, my brother would be laughing his ass off. They came out with the movie Navy SEALs like in the 90s on that one. My brother and I went out to see the movie. Went out to Westwood. There was a theater still playing the thing. We wanted to catch it before it faded out in history, I guess. So we saw it. We didn't realize that there was a few other veterans over there who wanted to take a break from life. So they wanted to watch fantasy. And we saw the movie. We saw the movie, Michael Biehn, Charlie Sheen in it. And these guys were laughing it up. Some of the audience members were like, shh. I heard some of the veterans go, fuck you. This is funny. I didn't catch the joke. But my brother was smiling his ass off. So, do you believe this shit? This is what the hell we did to? There was a movie called Act of Valor, though. We saw it on the screen. Big screen. That, among a few others that he saw in his lifetime, he'd utterly cried. And he kept telling me that's what I did. That was me. When you see the movie Act of Valor, either on streaming or on DVD, this movie would not reveal any actors' names in there. Because these guys were military. And the military didn't want their assets to be labeled at all. At least that was told to me anyway. My brother had watched a few times of it before his passing. I have yet to see it after his passing because it would remind me too much of it, much of him. Because my brother was a SEAL, despite what discharge than anybody else might say. He had the heart, he had the soul, he did his best. Hell, he earned his Budweiser in his wings. Despite missteps made in the judgment, they can't take it away from him in his heart and soul. He was already won before he got there. My brother was already won, and he got his title. And he was so proud of it, even after discharge. He wore it. He wore it on his sleeves, on his chest. In the last several years of his life, he wore it. The clock never comes down, never gets fixed. It still is. Because I want it exactly the way it is. It broke a long time ago before David died. We just never bothered to get it fixed. I never bothered to get it fixed because it still reminded me of my brother, and I didn't want to change anything about him. He may have been broken, but he was still a SEAL. He never gave up. He never quit. But there had been a time and a point he had to. He had no choice. When he passed away, did he actually quit? And that's what I kept asking myself when my brother passed away. The ambulance ride between home and the hospital wakes me up in the morning, tells me he has respiratory issues. I'm talking to 911 while trying to get things cleared off and also monitoring my brother. So by the time the ambulance came over here, I was laughing and joking, getting put on a gurney and taken out, and I get the stuff ready to be taken with him and lock up. The next thing I know, I'm waiting room of the hospital, escorted into the trauma center, and fuck. Yeah, I did say me a slap. I didn't want to see his face. I did not want to see his face. I refused to see his face. Oh, God Almighty, I didn't want to see it. It's bad enough seeing mamas. It was bad enough seeing grandmas and Aunt Mays. Everybody that I knew and loved. I didn't want to see it on him. All I saw was the meat slab. And I was so damn hurt and pissed off when he died. Yeah. Grief, PTSD, they all suck. Patriotic holidays come up, memorial holidays come up, and they're still hard to deal with because I deal with the ghosts, I deal with the memories, I deal with the pain and the agony of it all. I deal with this, and it gets harder and harder, and heavier each year. I can't watch the movie Active Vector. I can't even talk right. My brain's so befuddled right now. Active Valor was the film. Check it out if you need to. But the other movie, Navy SEALs, it's a comedy. To my brother and some of the other veterans who actually lived through experiences they went through, they laughed. Even though it may look like it's a heavy drama for some of them, for us civilians. But for those in the military who served, apparently it's a comedy to them. As for myself, I won't watch it. All the other military films, I still have a hard time trying to watch because it reminds me too much of my brother. My brother loved watching the military films and the television shows. He said he kept needing a laugh once in a while or maybe a bit of a cry or something. For me, it's a lot worse. A lot worse. Yeah. getting too freaking hot and I need to close up shop.